Yeah.
It's one of the best games I've ever played. Freaking Castle Crashers you can pick up for, if you want both DLC characters, like $5 right now. If you don't care about them, you can pick it up for $3. It's ridiculous.
Let me see. Castle Crashers, eh?
Yeah, and I love Castle Crashers. Castle Crashers, that's Behemoth Games. Speaking of, we've been talking about Newgrounds a lot too. That's Tom Fulp's baby right there, a Behemoth.
Yeah.
And you can even actually, there's a whole level where as you're doing your quest, you get abducted by aliens, and when you go in there, they're the aliens from Alien Hominid, and you can even unlock the Hominid as a playable character, which is pretty cool.
So
him and Dan Paladin.
It's $3 for the base game, and then 99 cents
for each of the 2 DLC characters. Yeah.
So,
which I don't even think they're discounted. I think they're just always 99 cents.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. Wait, 3, 4, 5. How come the bundle is $6?
Oh,
that's weird.
I'd probably save money just buying them separately.
Wait, no. What's Battle Block Theater?
Oh, Battle Block Theater is another game by Behemoth. So you're probably getting that in the bundle as well. So you're just still saving money going that way. That's a good game too.
Oh, I see.
It's kind of based off of back in when Alien Hominid was made as a console game, which I know was on GameCube. It might have been on Xbox as well. I don't know about PlayStation. But there was this little side game in there called the PDA games that you could play with people. It was multiplayer, and you were going through like obstacle courses as little stick figures. And Battle Block Theater is basically just the PDA games turned into like a full fleshed out game with an interesting story and characters in it.
So
I have it.
And Castle Crashers originated on Newgrounds, right?
Yes, yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Everything good originates on Newgrounds, right?
Yeah, well, it's by Behemoth Games, which the very first thing Behemoth ever made was Alien Hominid, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. But I used to play Alien Hominid on Newgrounds all the time, and that was Tom Fulp and Dan Paladin. And after the commercial success of Alien Hominid, they started making more games and putting them out there, usually letting you play like the demo, like the first couple levels or whatever, on Newgrounds while they're developing it. And then the full game comes out. Cool. And I loved Castle Crashers. I actually own 2 different copies of it. One I'm not even sure I still have access to, because I owned it was only digitally, right? Like they don't have physical copies of this game. So I owned it on PS3, and I don't even know if you can re-download things on the PS3 anymore. I don't know if that store's still running. But I own it on PS3. That's where I beat it. I own it on Steam too, but I just have not really played much through it again. I started playing it for like a Let's Play, like a long ass time ago, like 2014 or 15, whenever the game came back out. And I never finished it. I went like 9 episodes into the Let's Play and just stopped. Just a shame too, because it's probably like the most viewed content on my channel. I think the first video is near 10,000 views. I probably should have just continued playing that series. But the problem was, like, I had already beaten the game, and I had already, like, maxed out every single character on PlayStation, and then all my friends stopped playing it, like, a week after it came out on Steam. It's like, do I really want to do this again? There's, like, 50 characters in this game. To get them all to, like, whatever is, like, 99 or 100 to max them out, that's gonna take fucking forever. Do I want to do that? I already got the Platinum Trophy for this game.
Probably not. Eagle on Discord says that Homeworld Remastered is also on sale, and I can confirm it is 90% off. So I don't know anything about Homeworld. It looks like a space battle simulator.
Oh, that's cool.
RTS.
I've never heard of it.
Control your fleet. Me neither, but it is $3.50 if you're interested.
I do like cheap ass games.
Homeworld.
It's actually one of my favorite Twitter profiles is Cheap Ass Gamer, where all they do is post sales and discounts and stuff.
Wow. I'll have to check that out. Choose unit types, fleet formations, and flight tactics for each strategic situation. Cool. Not for me, but yeah. Homeworld. Homeworld Remastered.
But with that,
boy, Steam
I have to
is killing
say,
my wallet.
Killing
my wallet.
Welcome to the Vomitorium. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. Aside from sales, how are you doing today?
That was exciting. I'm good.
It needs to be exciting, especially with how low we are coming into this.
Yeah. Well, I just got out of the shower. So I'm actually helped wake me up a bit.
Oh, that's good. That's why the intro's got to be exciting. What if somebody like came in and they were listening to the music? I don't know what music's playing. Like, I might have it loud before you come in because it's really quiet. But once you come in and we're talking, I have to lower it so that you're not yelling in my ear. So half the time, unless it's a loud song, I can't tell what's playing. A lullaby could have been going off. It could have put somebody to sleep. I got to wake them up. They can't miss the show. They're here, but they got to actually be here.
It says Final Fantasy IV Balance and Ruin, but
yes,
I can't really hear it. So
yeah, it's one of the more quiet songs. It's the ending suite, which is just like a mix of the whole ending theme.
Yeah. Oh shoot, I'm still connected to my work server.
Bum, bum,
I should probably disconnect from the VPN.
Yep.
I always wonder when I've got a VPN on, like how much can they monitor? Like, can they tell that I'm downloading a Steam game? I have no idea.
It depends on the VPN and what it's designed to do.
I guess so.
Right? If it's designed to connect you to, your local work environment, then yes, they actually probably can monitor literally everything you're doing, going in and out.
And disconnected.
Yeah. If you're on like one of those pricey, they're actually not that pricey, but like those public express VPNs and stuff like that, virtual private networks, those things are specifically designed that not even they know what's going in and out in there. For mostly deniability, really, because if they don't know what's going in, they can't be held responsible for anything you're doing on their virtual private network.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, I guess you're right. I mean, not that the traffic goes through their network, but like any request would go through the VPN, right?
Yeah.
So they could potentially see like what websites you go to.
Yeah. Like
I always try to just.
They can't see all the data because they're not designed to do that, but they can definitely see any ping that goes in and out.
Yes. I need to make sure I'm disconnected from the VPN before I start.
Now, I'm sure there probably are, if you're working for a government agency because of security reasons, their virtual private networks are probably designed to see all the data that comes in and out, and to actually transcribe it to keep a record of everything that goes in and out.
Yeah.
But,
well,
I mean, you can't.
Luckily, I don't work for a government agency.
Yeah. Like, that's the way it should be, honestly. I think if something was dealing with the government for security reasons, they need to know everything that's going in and out.
Yeah. I work for a private company that has government contracts, but not an actual government.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
So I wanted to bring up something real quick.
Yeah, you
I don't know how long this will. Yeah, I've noticed a trend on Twitter. I don't think it has anything to do with Twitter, but I've noticed it on
Twitter. Is all about the trends. They have a whole tab dedicated to it.
Yeah, a trend of, and maybe you have a unique insight into this.
Maybe
a trend of artists who don't have jobs.
No, that has nothing to do with Twitter. That's just artists in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I feel bad, like especially if they're like saying things like I don't have money for rent and stuff like that. But I'm like, did you try getting a job? And and they're like, my art isn't good enough, or or I'm not selling enough commissions or whatever to do this to that. And I'm like, I don't know. It's foreign to me, because the instant I got out of college, I was like, I gotta get a job. And I, even while I'm, I don't know. well, I was freelancing.
Yeah.
I was like always busy, and if I didn't have a job, I would go get a desk job somewhere.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that's what happened. When my
I'm always
freelance
busy.
work dried up, I went and I got a job at Walmart, and then after that, I got a desk job.
I don't like
It just
not being busy.
hasn't. Yeah, and I'm just like, it's so much less stressful when I know, like, for instance, tomorrow's
Income
payday.
coming in.
I'm going to get paid tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know for certain that I will have money tomorrow, more money tomorrow, and I don't understand. Is this what the young people are doing? How are they surviving without a job? I don't get it.
Well, to be fair, people have survived throughout history without jobs pretty well, actually. I mean, I'm sure you know about hippies and beatniks.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
where do they? How?
Yeah.
Are they just beggars? I don't understand.
One of the things too is you have to understand something about art, right? And we have to define what is and isn't an artist. Because most people who try to be artists aren't artists. Right? Personally, I don't even identify as an artist. I do art, but I don't consider myself an artist. Unless you throw like the word Marshall in front of it. I am a storyteller. I am a creator. I make all kinds of different stuff. I'm a designer. I do graphic design. But a lot of people who just throw like, I'm an artist, are people who have this image of what they want to be. Like this ideal, this imaginary thing that they could achieve up to. That they don't even know how to get there, or if they even have the aptitude to get there, right? And a big issue is, and I say this all the time, all artists are flakes to some degree. Some less than others. Like some people are just, they're manageable. Their flakiness is just a little bit, but some are just absolute complete flakes. I mean that on anybody who does any type of art, right? Video editing, freaking illustration, writing, whatever. They're all flakes. Because to be this type of creative person means that your head is not in the same space as the vast majority of the general public, right? You are wired differently than everyone else. So there's also a lot of what you consider mental disorders that are common among people who are identified as artists. And as you know, when it comes to people without jobs and homelessness, one of the biggest contributors is having some type of like mental disorder.
Yeah. I was going to add that a lot of people who aren't artists are flakes too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I know plenty of engineers who are total flakes.
Yes,
even at their jobs.
It's just, if you go into the world of art, you're guaranteed to run into flakes. You can't avoid it. They're everywhere. They're literally just everywhere.
Yeah. Well, there was one person in particular, a person I'd never, whose account I had never laid eyes on before, but who was talking about this on Twitter last night, and I felt so bad for them. I was like, God, get a job.
Yeah.
Go get, and I don't even know what country they're in. Maybe that's not an option. Maybe they're locked down because of COVID. I have no idea.
Yeah, there could be. So I'm usually not that judgmental anyway, because I've always been on the fringes of society. That's just like the life I've had. So it's like I'm just used to dealing with all kinds of different people. It's like whatever. I don't know what your story is, but right now it's like it's the time to be even less judgmental on people, because some people were literally driven away from their income, not of their own volition or problems.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's what I was saying. I wasn't judging. I felt bad for this person because they were saying something about that they had vet bills and they couldn't, and they had their rent payment coming up and they couldn't pay rent. They couldn't get commissions, and they weren't sure if their art was even good enough to do art for a living. And it's like, oh God, I feel so bad for you. Like, is there something I can commission from you? Like what, and they had their art was decent. So I'm just like, I feel like maybe I'll just get something from them, just something. So,
well, another
I
big
don't know.
problem is a lot of artists, which this person sounds like somebody who probably actually had some type of supplementary job, because you don't end up in that position of having all these bills to pay if you didn't have some type of income beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Like your life
Yeah.
usually scales up to whatever you actually have access to at the time, and doesn't become a problem until you lose access to whatever it was. Which is usually you see this like drop right after college. This is when most artists hit their wall, right? And then their life has to adjust to it, because usually you have a lot of like some type of steady income due to loans and grants or whatever during college. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do all my college stuff. And then as soon as it drops and you haven't gotten a job yet, you just like, you hit a wall and it drops real fast.
Yeah.
But if you're already at this point that you have like an apartment and you have pets, and because you can't have pets in college. Well, I mean, until you get caught, you can.
Yeah.
If you have all these things, then you probably had some type of income before that. It's rough. A lot of people I hear are just losing their ability to even work. And what artists need to know is you need to get your head out of your ass when it comes to commissions, right? Because here's the problem, right? People have an idea of like, my commissions are worth this much. But that's not how the market works. If you're a nobody knows your name. And you're trying to get things. Maybe you could work back up to how much you think your commissions are worth, but you're going to have to drop them. Maybe give some customers like a first time discount. Be like, hey, since you're a new customer, I'll give you like 15% off or whatever. Because if people really like their work, they'll come back. Or maybe you need to not do custom commissions for like just the type of art you normally do. Maybe you need to go look for gigs, somebody who's looking for a graphic design, and maybe make some logos for somebody for a while. Get out of your comfort zone. Because there's plenty of people that are looking for jobs, like actual gigs, over what you would traditionally consider a commission work. It's still a commission. They're paying you to do it. You're not being hired. It's a one-time thing. But there's always people looking for graphic designers on like Craigslist and stuff like that. Like you could follow up with the email. There'll be people at actual companies that are looking for like outsourcing their work. You know, it's another good place. Go to Newgrounds. Go to the collab section. Look in the paid collab section. Find somebody there who's willing to pay money. You might only get $15 for the gig, but if you knock it out fast, it's still $15 more in your pocket, right? Just go, send them your portfolio and be like, oh yeah, your stuff's great. I would love to do this project with you. You got to look at, there's plenty of opportunities to make money. You just actually have to actively go out there and seek it. You can't wait for people to come to you. And that's the problem with most artists who do commission work, is they put up their, this is my commission price list, and then they're like waiting for people to see it and come and hire them. It's like, no. If you're a freelancer and you want money, you need to go find people and convince them that you are worth giving the money to. You're your own marketing.
Yeah. And this person had like 30 followers on Twitter. So,
you're not going to get anybody to find your stuff then.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I somehow ran across them, and maybe I'll direct them to this this podcast, and
and there's other like
buy some.
I know a lot of people aren't comfortable with Newgrounds. It's got a reputation. Usually it's because of the amount of porn that's on there, but you know, take that with what it is. But in the same way, DeviantArt, ArtStation. Even Reddit has communities where you can go and find people looking to give paid work, you know, just like if you're an artist and you're really trying to make money off of art, you think that is the only talent you have and you're going to go broke otherwise, you need to just be looking at all these different areas where people are willing to pay you to do stuff. And then you have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, like anybody else who needs money.
Yeah. Hey, Rebellious Pastry's back.
And Joshua. Our glorious leader, Joshua.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, if it were me, and I obviously am not an artist, so I don't have those particular mental illnesses
Yeah,
that
yeah.
artists tend to have. So, but yeah, if it were me, I would get a job. I would,
Yeah, yeah.
even if it were like
But like even like
in
say with your
retail.
skills, I could give a lot of the same examples. There's all kinds of people on the internet that are always looking for minor coding work, right? And you're
Oh,
flexible.
sure,
You know
sure.
quite a few different languages. Like I'm sure one of the easiest things to ever do, and I fucking hate this language. I wish they would abolish it. But CSS, I'm sure you have absolutely no problem working with CSS. If you were really strapped up for cash, you'd be like, oh, this dude is paying like $60 for me to just retailer their website. I'm sure I could knock that out real fast.
Yeah, I can take an existing graphic design, because I'm not a graphic designer, and make it a reality. So I can, take a design and make a website look like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But yeah. But I mean, yeah.
It's the problem
And
is like
like
the
you said,
internet's full of
it's
options and people just don't know how to start looking, right? Which is like I've
I
said this many
definitely
times. I do information broking. It's one of the things that I do. It's actually probably the most valuable thing I do because most people don't know how to find information. It's just school doesn't teach you how to research or how to find things quickly, especially with the advent of the internet. I don't think like public school or even private or homeschool or any type of program has ever caught up on like this is how you use the internet to find things. And information broking is a consultation job, right? For people who don't have an income, I will often just give like a session or two out for free. Like, listen, I'll help you find what you're looking for if it means that you'll be able to have an income. Like, this is charity work. I can actually write it off as charity work too. Like,
yeah. When I was out of a job, I was doing all kinds of stuff online. There was Rev is an interesting thing, like what's it called, a transcription service where you listen to audio and you just type out what people are saying. I was terrible at it, but it gave me a bit of an income for a few weeks. There's actually even services where you can play video games and write reviews and get paid for that. But you're right. I probably should have looked closer at websites where people are asking for development services. I know there are several.
One I mentioned before, Newgrounds.com. There's always people looking to collab, and there is both a paid and unpaid collab section. So people who are like trying to build their skills, they go to the unpaid section. People who already have skills go to the paid. And because it's a site where people are constantly making games and stuff, there's always people looking for like coding ability and stuff like that.
And if you're good looking, you can always look into OnlyFans.
Or just modeling, period. Like, especially, I mean, you have to be careful on Craigslist with modeling, especially if it's something that's specifically targeting women. But if you do your background research first, there are plenty of modeling opportunities, especially because like people just like YouTube's a big thing. And like, oh, if I have a hot woman in my video, it'll get views because people like looking at hot women. And all you have to do is show up, and I don't know how many takes you're gonna do, but basically just look pretty in the background of a video for half an hour.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I imagine
you'd up to $100 for that half hour too.
Yeah. I imagine you'd have to be there in person though. Right?
Oh yeah.
So kind of depends on where you are.
Man, I saw, because I'm always looking at the Craigslist gig section, because you have to be vigilant, especially if you want to get that cash into your pocket. And I saw one that at first I thought, oh, this looks like it's right up my alley, because the title said martial artist wanted. And like, okay, let me go look at this. And then I looked, and it was for a videographer thing. It was choreography. And like, oh, I can do choreography. But the more I'm reading it, it's this person basically wanted to fake him looking like he was good. And he wanted like 4 or 5 different martial artists in a choreographed scene to basically just attack him at once as he took them all down. But he wasn't describing this like this was a sketch or like some type of show or whatever, but almost like he was trying to make it look hyper realistic, like this was something that was actually happening and caught on camera. It's like, well, like I have no problem being an actor for a character in a show. I mean, that happens all the time. Like I even write characters that do that. I mean, you watch Daredevil, he takes on like 5 or 6 different people at once. But if you're trying to make it seem like you can do things you can't actually do, I'm not going to help you there, buddy. Especially if I get recognized in there too, and people like, this isn't acting. It's like, well, my reputation's on the line.
Yeah. I wonder if he was like trying to open a dojo and pretend he knew what he was doing. Who knows? Interesting. Well, I just thought I'd bring that up and appreciate your insight.
False flag ninja attack, pretty much.
Ninja attack. You gotta look out for those ninjas. They're everywhere.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Nintendo is trying to make sure that ROM universe stays down permanently. Remember a while back where they attacked the ROM universe with Matt Strawman and or Storman, whatever you pronounce his name, and they basically were trying to sue him for like $1.2 million because there was like a couple $1,000 price for every single game on there, and the judge was like, no,
was that
that's
the one
ridiculous.
where? Well, now wait a minute. Someone did recently lose a lawsuit for millions of dollars for ROMs, didn't they?
Yeah, no, Storman did. He just doesn't have to pay that that was $2.1 million. He lost. Oh. The site has to go down, but the judge was like, no, that's ridiculous. I think he ended up doing like $35,000 in damages total because like this guy doesn't even have an income anymore because he was getting it from the ads on that site. I'm not going to award you the $2.1 million to a person who has no way of paying it, right?
Yeah.
So they broke it down to $50 a month payments for the $35,000, and the company is not complaining that he's unable to pay the $50 a month because he has literally no income at this point.
Send me all your ROMs and I'll pay it.
Yeah, and oh man, it's just getting worse. So they're still attacking him for a permanent injunction, because they think that he's going to probably start the site back up at some point in time or do the same thing somewhere else. Because at the moment, the $50 a month, it would take him, and this is Nintendo's complaint, if he was doing the full thing, the 2.1 million, it would take him about 3,000 years to pay off the settlement. So that's why.
But that wasn't even. So what was the total that the judge approved?
It's like 35,000. It's like something that he could actually pay off in a lifetime. That's the whole reason why he denied it. It's like $50 a month or whatever.
It would still take 58 years.
Yeah. But still, it's like, it's feasible. It's something he could do. Especially, like, it's a minimum of 50. You could pay more if you were trying to pay it off faster.
Yeah.
But that's why they denied the 2.1 million. It's like, no human lifetime would be able to, like, fill this with the amount that he could pay per month reasonably. So.
Yeah.
And I just don't... Nintendo and their whole ROM thing. Like, I don't fucking get it.
Well, there's a billion other sites that you can get them from.
Well, ROM Universe, I believe, was the largest one that was still around of the big ones. Because most of them now, it's like they don't have quite the library that Cool ROM had in ROM Universe, right? These things had,
they're probably not
thousands
stored.
of ROMs on there.
And the places that I peruse for purely educational purposes probably don't store them
on
locally.
Their server.
I think
they're
all
like redirected hyperlinks and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, to like mega upload and stuff like that, or so I've heard.
Yeah, well,
Don't-
ROM Universe and
don't-
Cool ROM, which was the first one that Nintendo ever shut down. It was funny, too, because what was it? I believe ROM Universe only had 49 copyrighted Nintendo games on that site. But that was enough for Nintendo to get them because they valued, what was it? Actually, about as much as he owes for the total payment, $35,000 per copyrighted ROM, and then there was an additional $400,000 in statutory damages.
But okay, so they're talking about copyrighted Nintendo, but they probably had thousands of non.
Yeah, but Nintendo's the only one that attacked them, so that's why the damages were only there. Like, if you imagined every single person who owned a copyright attacked the guy and had the same damage report, he would have, like, damages in 100 millions
billions.
Area, I'm thinking. I don't know if it would tip into the billions, but definitely into the 100 millions. Like, it'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just stupid. It's just like, okay, get the site, if that's your goal, get the site taken down and be done with it. Don't worry about any damages, because, I mean, you've damaged him enough. I know you don't get to retrieve anything, but he doesn't have anything. So
yeah,
$50 a month is ridiculous. Like, why even bother? So
yeah,
I don't know. Nintendo needs to just start up their own ROM website. I guess they couldn't really. I mean, except for just their own property. I guess they couldn't.
For their own property, and they could. And they'd have to keep it cheap because some people would be willing to pay for some of these ROMs. If there was like 99 cents a piece, people would be like, "Yeah, I'll pick up this game for 99 cents," and they'd be making a lot more money than they're losing from people just running around downloading it for free.
Yeah, it's like Napster. It's like the music industry wised up and realized there's no stopping this.
Yeah.
This thing called
the Switch
internet.
Online, right? Because streaming is what really killed things like LimeWire and Napster. When streaming came out, and it's like, okay, just like the Switch Online, make a computer version where people could just play all of these old games on the computer. You don't have to make a different version for like the Switch where you actually have to modify the ROM. You could just make the ROM pure on there. It's easy. Contract some of these emulator people. I'm like, hey, for our streaming service, we need you to adapt this emulator to load up with the streamer. Like, just make us a version that will be in the streaming service, and then boom, you could just play all of this stuff for just like $5 a month.
I mean, and if they want like some sort of DRM, work with Steam.
Yeah,
that would kind of suck, but I mean, I would understand if they were like, well, we want DRM. I'm sure they could figure out a way to make it so that
they're really good friends with Microsoft right now, and the Game Pass, the way that works is perfectly because while you have the Game Pass, you can download these games and keep them until you don't have Game Pass anymore. So you can make a Netflix like streaming service where you do have local files, so you don't have to be connected to the internet or whatever, and it could just use the same style of DRM that the Game Pass uses.
It's like they don't even realize that these emulators and things exist. Like, you don't need to. There's the Game Boy Advance emulator is fantastic.
Oh,
the one that I've got.
It can play everything before it too. Like, you can play Game Boy and Game Boy Color games on there.
Exactly. Yeah, you can load Game Boy ROMs.
That's why I don't have more like a Game Boy emulator. I only need the Game Boy Advance one.
Exactly.
Speaking of,
I can't even remember.
This actually goes into another topic of something you might be interested in. Let me get this. And there is a new technology called the GB operator, made by, actually the company right here, Epilogue. And what it is this little tiny stand. It's clear, you can see the board on the inside, and it's basically just a mount. It's a cartridge station, very small, plugs into your computer, and it's basically just a cartridge driver that lets you play actual Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games on your computer. You can use it with MGBA emulator perfectly, but you can probably also get it to work with some other things. And it can save your files locally, so you never have to worry about that battery dying out and your Pokemon disappearing on you.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought it's amazing. Right now, it's running for $50. It's set to ship.
Oh, and it works with Game Boy camera.
Yep.
Awesome.
And because it's mobile, you can actually move it around like a webcam or whatever. Actually, ooh,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. I don't think I might still have my Game Boy camera. Yeah, it might be in one of my boxes. That would be interesting. You could probably use the Game Boy camera as a webcam. That would be a very, very like odd Kino aesthetic to have. I might have to invest in this.
You don't have a Game Boy camera, do you?
I think I do. It's not in my case with my normal Game Boy games because it's too big to fit in there. But I do believe in one of my boxes, I still have my Game Boy camera. In one of my storage boxes.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How did you find out about this?
I was just on Games Radar looking for news to talk about. I usually pull up two sites. I pull up GameSpot and Games Radar because usually they don't really throw a slant too much on whatever they're talking about. They just kind of spew information at you. A lot of times they are talking about crap. Like I don't really care about the latest thing that's going on with Loki. So you're filtering through looking for the actual stories, but that's where I get a lot of the stuff we talk about from those two sites.
Mm-hmm.
It can even detect if games are fake in the same way that the actual Game Boy could. Probably because Epilogue based the board off of the Game Boy Advance board, I would guess.
Mm-hmm. How does it... Oh, I guess it has its own launcher.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, it uses MGBA as the core emulator.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then it saves to the PC, save state or save data. Oh, that's cool. I love it.
Yeah, I need to get one.
Unfortunately, I don't know if
I can't afford one right now, but I need to definitely sign up for it.
I don't know if I own any Game Boy or Game Boy Advance games.
I got plenty.
I don't know what happened to all of them, but they're not in my possession anymore.
Though I think they're also in my box. I'd have to go and get them. But I still have Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, the Pokemon trading card game. I still have the original, not the director's cut, the original Link's Awakening.
Oh, you mean not the DX version?
Yeah, not the director's cut, which is what DX stands for. I have the original gray cartridge version of Link's Awakening.
Yeah, I did. Honestly, I had all these games. I don't know what happened to them. I did. My ex-wife probably has them or sold them or something.
But I am fairly certain I still have a Game Boy camera. I think I had the green one, which looks so... Because they came in different colors. There was a black one or whatever. And it was so weird that I had the green one because I had a red Game Boy Pocket. So putting that big green camera into the back of it was this weird little Christmas color thing. But I guess it fit because it's also Mario and Luigi colors together.
Yeah. Well, but you can usually find old games at their used game stores everywhere, and I mean even GameStop sometimes has Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm on the mailing list, so ships in August. So that's not very far off.
I should sign up for the mailing list.
Happy July, by the way.
Yeah, happy July. Shout out to my extremely long-time friend, Centricible, which you guys might recognize in X Dynamis Chaos, one of the main characters, Sentry. It's his birthday today, so Merry Life Ceremony to you. I've known that guy since 3rd grade. So, 2 decades now. That's a long time to know somebody.
Yeah.
Especially somebody who's not your family. That's a long time to know somebody.
Definitely.
Here we go.
Cool.
Find the page. I need to get on there. I need to get on this mailing list.
Yeah, here I'll put the for anyone watching at least. I'll the link in the chat. Epilogue.co.
Yeah.
Yes, Timothy. He means happy birthday.
That's
what he
means. Life ceremony. I don't like the word birthday because you're only actually birthed once.
Joshua. Yes, happy not gay month. However, despite the fact that Pride Month is over, apparently you can still get the Queer Games bundle for a few days. Which is on Humble Bundle, I believe.
See that?
Oh no, on itch.io.
I read a lot of like really old manuscripts and stuff like that. Like I'm really into history and the older world. So it's always weird hearing people use the word queer because it literally means weird, and I'm just used to like reading that. Because, like, you go back to Shakespearean time, people are using the word queer interchangeably with the word weird all the time. Like, oh, that's odd. But they'd be like, oh, that's queer. And it's still, like, it's weird to me.
Well, have you heard the NFL is gay?
Oh. Well, yeah, but haven't they always been? I mean, a bunch of guys
according to the
slapping
NFL.
each other's asses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I think it's a little bit bullying of the NFL to itself to call itself gay, but you know,
yeah, I mean, I used to always call them gay, like growing up. It's like, that's pretty gay.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty mean, but at least they're being mean to themselves.
Yeah, I bully myself all the time. I mean, even my alarm clock is labeled "Get up, you sack of shit." I find like me bullying myself is how I get myself to do things. I need something to fight against, you know, like push back. It's like I trash talk myself in the mirror. I find it pretty effective.
Yeah, I abuse myself physically sometimes. I'll have to slap myself on the face to wake up. Seriously do. Sometimes, you know, I'm like if I'm falling asleep and I'm like, I really need to stay awake for something. I'll slap myself on the face.
Just be like,
yeah. Obviously doesn't cause any permanent damage, but you know, a little bit of pain, slap in the face, wake you up. It works. By the way, this is interesting, different news that I don't understand. I think I need to make a correction on something we've reported on before.
We can in a second. But I do have to answer Timothy's question. He says, how many times have you shoved yourself in a locker? Funny story about that. As kind of like an escape artist way, back in middle school, because I knew how to open the lockers using their internal mechanisms from the inside, I actually used to charge people money to watch me shove myself in the lockers. They were only the half lockers, too. I was small enough that I could fold up and fit in there. And then I would escape. And I got busted eventually. But I got out of it clean, too. They didn't even know I was taking money for this. I told them that somebody else was shoving me in there. And actually, it's like, oh, I don't remember his name. He got away fast. But they were wondering, like, why there were so many people crowded around staring at this. But I think 1 week I made as much as, like, $50 doing it. Which is a lot from, like, people who... I was, like... contorting myself into one of those like half-size lockers, and I was opening it up using the mechanism from the inside, which it didn't have to be my locker. Like, it didn't matter what the code was to get in. It could have been any locker because I could open it up from the inside with the mechanism, like the way it worked.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a little Houdini. Everybody's like, whoa, I didn't know. What is he doing? These kids are easy to impress. Middle school kids.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, we talked about. Timothy is asking if you have given yourself a wedgie.
Maybe to prove a point. I don't know. I'd have to think back on
it. And yes, Joshua, that's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, you like football? That means you like gay stuff. Haha.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about I guess yesterday or the day. I guess it was yesterday. Final Fantasy Pixel remasters.
Yeah.
So apparently, it's only 1, 2, and 3 that come out July 28th, and 4, 5, and 6 will not be available until later this year.
But you can get the whole bundle now. I guess they're just gonna give it to you once they're available. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah. Yep, you can get the whole bundle for $75 right now, and I still would not recommend it.
Oh, I would not.
But I ran across an article about that, how they said 1, 2, and 3 is coming out first, and then 4, 5, and 6. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's not what we said. So
I didn't even remember us saying what day it was coming out because I didn't even remember what day it was coming out.
Yes, not that it's that important. I'll probably still be playing Skyward Sword HD, which comes out in 2 weeks.
Like, why would you spend $75 on really bad remasters of Final Fantasy when instead you can spend like $5 and waste all of your time playing Castle Crashers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only $5, and that includes both DLC downloads. Boy, Timothy's really getting into this. Yeah. Bullying of yourself. Really excited.
Please don't bully me, Miss Nagatoro.
So did you see the new stuff with Diablo 4?
No, I have not been following Diablo 4. Especially after the shit that they were doing with the Diablo 2 remaster. I'm like, oh god, 4 cannot be any better than this.
Well, interestingly, they're giving you a character creator, like customizable.
I'm already out. I'm out. Done.
Well, but the funny thing about it, from what I saw, I watched Asmongold did a full review of what they released, I guess, yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was watching the whole thing. He didn't say this, but I noticed all the female characters are flat. Like A cups as far as the eye can see. I'm like, is there gonna be a boob slider or is this it? Because it's like they look great. The graphics look great.
You don't need a boob slider. You at least, though, need like 4 or 5 different body types you can pick from that have varying presets. Well, I hate character creators. And I'm going to be honest. I fucking hate them. I think I've been on this rant before. They are great in certain games. But outside of like MMOs, where the whole point of the game is expressing your character, whatever, especially ones that have RP servers, most of the time, they're a crutch to lure people in for a game that was otherwise shittily made, or like at least not enough attention is put into, or they just don't have interesting mechanics for gameplay and everything. To me, in the modern day, a character creator is the first red flag for a game. Of like, I need to look more into this. Is probably not going to be worth making money. I should dip now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense for an MMO where you want to be very, be able to customize.
Because you're going to see everybody else running around all the time.
Yeah.
But Diablo's not an MMO. It's a dungeon crawler with maybe 3 other people in your team where you're probably all playing different characters anyway. So do you really need a character creator?
Yeah, it tells me like it seems like a product of fear where they don't want to commit. They don't want to say, here's the design for the, female barbarian and the Amazon, and she's well endowed and has boob armor that's shows cleavage and stuff like that, and people will be like, oh well, I don't like this design because it's sexy and sexy women scare me and stuff like that, and so they just want to be like, all right, here's a bunch of options to design your own character. We don't want to deal with, or we're just afraid. We're afraid of the cancel culture or whatever you call it, or the
I don't know,
Puritan.
because with me, I don't see it as that, right? Because I don't think at this point Blizzard is afraid of the other side, and they would just make flat characters. My thing is, I think they aren't confident in their game in general, which is why they need something like a character creator to draw more people in, right? And I think I've broken this down too. Character creators they're appealing to guys, don't get me wrong. They're more appealing to women because men and women on average play with toys, and a video game is really just a very elaborate toy. They play with them differently. When guys play with toys, one of the reasons what they want that like super muscular action figure or whatever, and they want a whole bunch of different ones, is because guys tend to become whatever character you give them, right? They're not imprinting themselves onto it, they imprint the character onto them when you role play. Women are the opposite, and this is why the dolls tend to have more realistic figures than action figures do, because women are looking for something that looks like them. They imprint themselves onto whatever they're playing with, and you see that in video games too. It's not all of them, obviously, we're just talking averages, but this tends to be how things go. And character creation being pushed into so many games, in part, has been one of the attempts to try to get more women playing video games. And there's been a lot of experts in both the game design field and the psychological field that have talked about this many times over. You can find plenty of resources on it, but that's been one of the very big pushes to putting character creators and character creation stuff in there. And that's why it's such a red flag to me. Because if you're doing cheat ploys like that to try to draw more people into the game, it means that you're not actually confident about your game itself. Because one of the simplest games of all time is also one of the most popular games with women, and that's Tetris. If you have a good game, you'll attract people. You don't need to do like cheap tricks and backflips and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I never, God, I mean, when I pick the character in Diablo 2, I'm drawn to the cool looking character, but I'm more looking at the gameplay.
Yeah.
Like what is the abilities of this character?
This is why the whole Amazon thing was actually upsetting me. I played as the Amazon because it was a ranged DPS class, and I like ranged DPS. Very fun character.
Yeah, if I want to pick a character based on, their characteristics like that, then I also want them to be attractive because I'm going to be staring at them for a long time.
In fact, I end up playing a lot of female characters in games like that because a lot of times, because it for some reason seems more believable, the ranged DPS characters tend to be women. Because they're like, oh, they would have a problem with the hand-to-hand combat, so they need to be back. Actually, I hate to burst your bubble, game designers. A woman would fare better with a longsword or a polearm, which would give her a leverage advantage than she would with a bow and arrow, which isn't a dexterity weapon. It is a strength weapon. You actually need a lot of strength to pull a war bow. Some of them have like 200-pound draw pressure. It's the draw weight is ridiculous on war bows. It's a bad design. Yeah.
That's why you need a compound bow.
Yeah, compound bow solves some of the problem, though you don't get that in more fantasy settings. A crossbow solves the problem too, but the problem is crossbows are also a pain in the butt to reload. They take a lot of strength to do that. Most women would probably have to put the bow on the ground and pull back with both hands while their legs are holding the bow still. So
unless you're Linkle.
Too much. Yeah, but you know what? She kind of does the thing that I'm like, would have solved the problem. You let gravity do most of the work, and she actually kind of uses her, like, the clippings on the boots or whatever to reload it.
Yeah.
And that's something I thought about prior to Linkle, and I was like, oh man, I'm really glad that Nintendo thought of this character design when they did. Like, I really appreciated that. It's like, that's how you could do it.
Yeah, she has these like metal hooks on her boots.
Yep.
Obviously, it's all very unrealistic because she can even like do like this, automatic weapon kind of move and stuff like that.
But at least they thought about it, though.
Yeah.
But like, if you wanted to say, like, some people would think it's too unrealistic for women to be like up in the front of combat or anything, which is, it's not, honestly. You just got to think about, like, what advantage are you going to give them? Women tend to have really good lower body strength. So a really good weapon would be something that gives them reach and leverage, especially something that they can mostly use their lower body strength. Most female, in a more realistic setting, and we're not talking about, like, say, Final Fantasy, where people are all superhuman, so it really doesn't matter what you give anybody. But, like, say, a Dungeons and Dragons setting, just give her a polearm. It's all leverage at that point, you know?
Yeah, a female dragoon would make sense, right?
Yeah.
They use spears.
Or maybe make really a cannoneer, right? Like, firearms, but really old-fashioned firearms that they can load.
Yeah.
Women have a pretty low center of gravity. It wouldn't be bad.
So yeah, I don't know. I didn't really listen to the commentary that Asmongold was giving on it, but I was watching the video and I was like, okay, so character created for Diablo, and all the women are very flat. All right. It's funny, they're talking about realism in this article I'm looking at on Game Informer, but it wasn't very realistic because women have figures.
Yeah. It's actually large chests aren't that common, really. You see a lot of them, but they also stand out because you're looking for them. But also flat chests aren't that common either. Like, A is not a very common cup size. B's and C's are the most common of all cup size, which means the point to where they're actually noticeable is more common than not.
Yeah. Which makes sense. It's on a bell curve, right? The middle of the road would be the most common. But whatever. I own Diablo 3, but I hardly ever play it. I've never beaten it. Just hasn't been very interesting to me. But Diablo 2, on the other hand, I have played from beginning to end, and I love it. And I doubt I'll play Diablo 4.
I probably won't either. I'll just go back and play the original version of 2.
Yeah.
Or some other game.
It does
There's
work.
A lot of really good alternatives. Have you ever played Torchlight?
No.
Torchlight's pretty good. It's kind of like a parody type game of Diablo in a way, I would say. A lot of people have considered it like the Borderlands of Diablo, which is funny because Claptrap does make a cameo appearance in Torchlight 2 for a quest. But Torchlight is a very Diablo-esque game. This series is, there's only 2 in the series as far as I know right now. Has been pretty smooth. It's a good experience. There's 3. There's a Torchlight 3. I haven't played 3 yet.
Yeah. There's a Torchlight 3.
Really solid series.
Wow, it's really recent. It just came out last October, 2020.
Okay, that's probably why I haven't played 3 yet. I didn't even know it came out, so
cool.
I'll have to play it. But Torchlight's a good series.
It's on sale, 63% off. So
ooh, what's that making?
Torchlight, $15.
That's not bad. So if you like Diablo games and you want to play something good, right now for $15, go pick up Torchlight 3. If it's anything like 2, you really don't need to play the ones before it to really get into it. Like, there is a building up lore, but each game's standalone, so you don't really have to know the lore to understand it. And if you enjoy it, you can always go back and play the other ones.
Yeah, looks awesome to me. Good idea.
And with that, it's the end of the show. So, thank you all for coming, watching, listening later. It doesn't matter. If you enjoy the show, please share it with somebody else who might like it. And if you really like the show, consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium live. And we will see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.